Welcome to the fourth part of video on the topic microorganisms. So before I go into the topic, I wanted to inform you all that by the end of this video there is a link and there are set of few questions which you need to answer, and those questions are based on the topic that we'll be learning today. So only if you answer the questions, your attendance will be marked and it will be also considered for the promotion. Therefore, do not forget to answer the questions. So let us move into the topic. Before going, let us have a short recap on what we learned about the topic in the previous video. So we learned how microorganisms are useful in the field of medicine. We learned how they are useful as antibiotics as well as vaccines. So then we learned how microorganisms are useful in the field of agriculture, what are biofertilizers, what is nitrogen fixation, and what are biocontrol agents. So now let us see what we'll be learning in this particular video. So today we'll be learning the uses of microorganisms in the field of industry as well as in our day-to-day life. So let us go into the topic one by one. Use of microorganisms in the field of industries. So let us see how different microorganisms are useful in different industries. So we'll be seeing four sets. First one is sewage treatment, production of biogas, production of alcohol and wine, retting and tanning. So the first one is sewage treatment. So have you ever heard the term sewage? Do you know what is sewage treatment? Okay. So the waste that we are dumping out of our house, that is the drainage system, goes somewhere. It ends up somewhere. What happens to this drainage? So do we leave the drainage just like that? No. The drainage water, which is connected to each and every house in our cities or in our localities, goes into a sewage treatment plant. There, the drainage water is cleared or cleaned from all the dirt and the microorganism, and further that water is released into any water bodies. Such process is called as sewage treatment, and such industries are called as sewage treatment plants. As you can see a picture clearly that shows how the drainage water or sewage water is cleaned or treated. So it primarily includes three major steps, which is primary, secondary and tertiary. So now we'll see how microorganisms are useful in cleaning the drainage water. So you might feel amusing because these bacteria are causing diseases. How can these microorganisms help in cleaning a drainage system? Yes, so let us see one by one. Okay, so in the first you can see in the image the primary treatment. So what happens is the drainage is directly connected to the primary treatment plant, where you can see the water is run through a layer of screens, that is mesh. So what is the use of this meshes? All the large particles of dirt, any plastics or anything which is large in size gets segregated out. That is, the large dust or the large garbage particle remains in the screen and the remaining water flows down, which is again having lots of dirt and microorganism. So this is what is primarily done in primary treatment. So in primary treatment, most of the large dirt particles are removed and it is further sent into the secondary treatment plant. So what happens in secondary treatment plant? This is a very important step. In the secondary treatment plant, we use microorganism, that is aerobic microorganism. I hope you remember what are aerobic microorganism. The microorganism that uses oxygen for its respiration. So there is a point stated here. The aerobic bacteria are allowed to grow in the primary effluent during the secondary stage of the wastewater treatment. So that clearly means that these wastewater in the secondary treatment are going to be treated with microorganism, especially aerobic microorganism. So the effluent is nothing but the water which is flowing out from the primary treatment system. So the water that has come out, or the effluent that has come out from the primary treatment plant, enters the secondary treatment plant. So what happens there is, the effluent is filled into a large tank. In that tank there is more amount of aerobic bacteria, and there is continuous supply of oxygen into the tank. That is, the tank is aerated completely. Aerated means the oxygen is being pumped continuously into the plant so that the microorganism can respire properly. And what do they do in that? So what these aerobic bacteria do is, the organic waste material or the organic matter. Organic matter is any dirt substance which is degradable, which can be broken down easily, is called as organic matter. So our aerobic bacteria breaks down this organic matter and releases gases into the tank. So the main thing is, the organic matter is broken down by the aerobic bacteria. So these bacteria consume major part of the organic matter in the effluent. That is, they break down the organic matter. So one such example of a bacteria, aerobic bacteria used is Nitrobacter. So once the effluent is treated with aerobic bacteria, it is again sent into a tank where chlorine is sprayed, or the water is disinfected. Disinfected means the microorganisms are killed. So I have to say you one more point. In the secondary plant or in the aeration tank, most of the dirt particle as well as most of the harmful microorganisms are killed, and when this water is sent into another tank for disinfection, the remaining bacteria that could be present in the effluent is treated with chlorine and killed. So finally, the water which is coming out is released into the water body. So this is what happens in a sewage treatment plant. So the primary treatment, where the large particles are removed. Then in the secondary stage, the aerobic bacteria, which breaks down the organic matter and releases as gas. Then it is disinfected with chlorine. Then again it is pumped into the water bodies. So now let us see the second one. Production of biogas. You know what is a biogas? Biogas means the gas which is produced from the natural sources. The gas produced from the natural sources. So this is a typical biogas plant. These biogas are commonly used in villages where the house which is having this biogas plant generally has lots of cattle. I'll show you why they need a cattle for biogas. So what happens is, you can see in the picture, in the left side, there is a mixing tank. So what is done in the mixing tank? So the animal waste, the human waste, the plant waste, agriculture waste, all these waste are dumped into this mixing tank. Animal waste is nothing but cow dung. Human waste, that is human excreta, all these are supplied to this mixing tank, and in this mixing tank all these plant waste and animal waste are mixed completely, and then it goes down into a tank where what happens is, there is anaerobic bacteria that plays a major role in breaking down the animal waste and plant waste to produce methane. So when this waste is going down into the tank, what happens is, there are anaerobic bacteria. So anaerobic bacteria are the bacteria which do not require oxygen for respiration. So in the previous sewage treatment, we saw the use of aerobic bacteria. Now in this biogas production, we are seeing the use of anaerobic bacteria, which is breaking down the plant waste and animal waste to produce a gas called as methane. So along with methane, carbon dioxide and hydrogen are also produced. So methane, carbon dioxide and hydrogen are produced. As these gases are light in weight, they float above and gets collected in the tank. So these gases are lightweight, they float and get collected in the tank. So this gas is stored in the gas storage tank. So now what happens is, the gas which is stored in the tank is supplied to the household purposes. It could be either a cooking gas or for lamps or anything. So this gas connection, the pipes from the storage tank is connected to the gas which is used for cooking or any purpose. So in most villages, in most homes, we see this biogas plants because this is an easy access for them, as they have lots of cattle in their home, and it is a low cost production because we don't have to do anything in this, and it is less expensive. So people prefer biogas plants in villages. So the bacteria are called as methanogens. Can you guess why these bacteria are called as methanogens? Yes, these bacteria are called as methanogens because these bacteria are capable enough to produce the methane gas. So let us see the next one. Production of alcohol and wine. So how is microorganism useful in the production of alcohol and wine? Let us see. So as you can see the picture here, it shows how alcohol, wine, beer or any beverages are prepared. So alcoholic drinks are produced by the fermentation process using yeast. I hope you all remember yeast, a fungi. Yes. So fermentation. Do you know what is fermentation? Okay. Fermentation is the process in which a substance is broken down by the use of any microorganism, which results in the effervescence as well as evolution of heat. So when fermentation is conducted, it is done by the microorganism which breaks down the substances to produce heat. So that is what is happening in the production of alcohol and wine. So let us take how wine is prepared. So the grapes, it could be green grapes or dark grapes that are taken. These grapes are crushed in a container. Then that crushed grapes that are contained in a container, in that yeast is added. So what this yeast does is, the yeast makes a thin layer around these grapes and starts degrading or breaking down the grapes into finer particles or further into a liquid. So as long as the fermentation is carrying on, the wine becomes more and more concentrated. So that is why it is said that most fermented wine is more costlier and more tastier. So as you leave the yeast on that grapes and allow it to ferment for months and months, the taste of the wine improves and it becomes more expensive. And this is how wine is made. In case of other beer or anything, it is the malted barley or rice or anything is used. So sugar present in the grapes are fermented using yeast. So the sugar which is present in the grapes are broken down by the yeast. So now let us see the last one, retting and tanning. So you can see a picture here. So what it is saying is, first let us see tanning. What is tanning? In tanning industry, bacteria act upon the skin of the animals and makes it soft. So what is this tanning industry? See the picture. So the raw skin is removed from the animal and receives temporary preservation. So the animal skin is peeled off and it is stored for some time. Then that skin is cleaned thoroughly to remove the hairs or anything else which is present on it. Then tanning is done. So you can see the picture. Preservation of the skin by treatment with tanning. So what they do is, the skin is preserved and here the bacteria are introduced on the skin so that this bacteria makes the skin soft by degrading it, or not completely but slightly decomposing the hard layer of it. Then the next one is coloration and product designation. The skin is treated with dyes, softening and filling agents to produce leather and other desired final products. So I hope now you understand how leather is made. Leather is made from the skin of an animal. So the animal skin is peeled off, then it is cleaned thoroughly to remove all the hairs. Then bacteria are introduced over the skin so that the skin becomes soft. Now this skin is further processed to make leather items. It could be a leather bag, a leather belt, a leather shoe, anything. And coloration is done. So coloration is done by adding dyes. So this is what is done in a tanning industry. Tanning industry is majorly based on production of leather from the skin of animal. Yes. Is this process right? Using an animal skin? I would say no. It is better not to harm any other animal for our benefit. The next one is retting. So what happens in retting is, I have said a point that flax plants are tied in bundle and kept in water. Then the bacteria are introduced which loosens the supporting fibers of the stem by acting on the stem's tissues. This is called as retting. Okay, I know you would have not understood anything. Let me explain you by a help of a picture. So this is a flax plant which you can see in the left, the green plant, and in the right you can see the fiber which is produced from this plant. So what actually is happening in the retting industry is the plants are harvested, then it is tied into bundles, as you can see in the picture, harvesting, then it is tied into bundles and soaked completely in the water. Now, in the water they introduce certain bacteria. What this bacteria does is, it loosens the fibers or the stem tissues and helps in making them into a fiber. So in the harvesting, you can see linen kraft. So when the fibers are loosened or when the stem tissues are loosened, it results in fibers, that is thin strands. These thin strands are called as linen kraft, which is further used to make fibers. Could be in ropes or anything else. So flax fiber, then you can see ropes which is made from flax. So this is the major process which is carrying out in the retting industry. Okay, now use of microorganism in daily life. So making bread. I hope all of you would be interested in having bread, cake or any bakery stuffs, right? Okay. So how these bread, cakes, buns, etc. are made. So the bakers use yeast, a fungi, in making breads and cakes. Yes, so the bread and cake that you eat is made with the help of yeast. So what happens is, they make the dough for baking the cake. In that dough, they add yeast. So when they add the yeast, what happens is the dough rises. Rises means it becomes larger in size. So once you make the dough with yeast and keep it aside for some time, after some time when you see the dough, it is completely risen. That is, it has become more puffier. And then this dough is used for making bread, cake or anything. So the softness of the cake or bread is due to the presence of carbon dioxide. Yes. So when I said the dough rises, so the dough rises when you when you break the dough, you can see empty spaces, small gaps in the dough, which is caused due to the carbon dioxide bubbles, which is released by the yeast. So even in the bread, next time when you buy a bread and eat, you can see in between the breads, you can see small gaps or air holes, which is produced by the yeast. It is due to the bubbling of carbon dioxide. So again, to enrich the protein and vitamin contents in the bread, bakers add chlorella, which is a green algae, to the dough. It is not compulsory step, but few bakers do add it. So as you can see in the picture, so in the right side of the image, it is a freshly made dough. Then after some time, it gets puffier. That is, it rises. And it rises because of yeast, which produces carbon dioxide. Next is preparation of curd. I hope all of you eat curd every day. Yes. Have you ever thought how this curd is made? I know everybody would have seen your mom preparing a curd, right? So how exactly curd is prepared from milk? Let us see that. Okay, so we know that curd is prepared from milk. So in milk, we have a sugar called as lactose. Yes? So in this milk, we have a sugar called as lactose, which is converted into lactic acid in curd. So there exists a bacteria in curd called as lactobacillus, which changes the milk to curd when small amount of curd and added to the milk. So I hope all of you would have seen how your mom prepares curd. Yes. So what your mom does is she boils the milk, keeps it aside for 15 to 20 minutes so that the milk cools down and it is just not very hot but slightly warm. Then what your mom does is she adds a small cup of curd into the milk. Yes. So why does she add that curd into the milk? It is because in the curd there is a bacteria called as lactobacillus, which is very much helpful in converting the milk into the curd. So once this lactobacillus present in the curd gets mixed with the milk, it starts breaking down the it starts converting the lactose present in the lactose present in the milk to lactic acid. So slowly after few hours, your milk is completely converted into curd. So this is how curd is made. It is not just out of magic that your milk gets converted into curd. It is bacteria called as lactobacillus. Lacto means milk and bacillus is a bacteria which is helpful in converting the milk to curd. So in this process, the milk becomes thicker. So the curd is thicker compared to milk and the curd is sour in taste compared to it is sour in taste. Why it is sour in taste is because of the presence of lactic acid. So in the preparation of curd, lactose in the milk is getting converted into lactic acid by the help of a bacteria called as lactobacillus. So you can see a picture here, lactobacillus, which is a rod-shaped bacteria. Next, role of microorganisms in human body. So till now we learned how microorganisms are causing diseases to the human body. Now let us see how microorganisms present in the human body can help in many processes happening inside the body. So you can see the picture. We have millions of microorganisms living within us. It could be present in nose, in mouth, in our stomach, in our gut, that is intestine, in our skin, anywhere. It could be found anywhere. So let us see how few microorganisms play an important role in carrying out certain process. So there is a bacteria called as Lactobacillus acidophilus, which is found in the intestine of the human, and it helps in digestion of food and fight harmful microorganisms. So it helps in digestion of the food and fighting against harmful other microorganisms. There is another bacteria called as E. coli, which is also found in your intestine, which helps in synthesis of vitamin K and vitamin B in the body. So these are two sets of microorganisms, a bacteria called as lactobacillus and E. coli, both found in the intestine. Lactobacillus helps in digestion and E. coli helps in the synthesis of vitamin K and vitamin B. And there are several other microorganisms, for example, Bifidobacterium, which is found in your stomach, that helps in protecting your stomach from getting ulcers. And there are several types of microorganisms which could help in for several life processes. Here you can see a picture of different microorganisms found in different parts of the body. For example, lungs, skin, brain and gut. Gut is nothing but your intestine. So in the lungs you can see protective functions of the bacteria. That is, it protects your lungs from pathogens, that is disease causing bacteria. Then you have in your gut, in the intestine, which helps in protecting your uh, intestine from other microbial action of harmful bacteria. So we have different roles played by different sets of bacteria. They could be protective functions, that is, protect your body from the harmful effects of other microorganism. Structural functions, for example, the bacteria which is, or the microorganism which are found in the skin, helps in healing your wound or giving a better immune system, so that you don't get easily affected by any bacteria. Then we have certain microorganism which helps in metabolic functions. Metabolic functions means breaking down of food particles in your, breaking down of glucose in the body. For example, vitamin synthesis in the gut and several other functions. So these are the importance of microorganism in the field of industries that we saw, that is sewage treatment, biogas production, production of alcohol and wine. Then we saw how microorganisms are useful in our day-to-day life, that is in making bread, conversion of milk, then in the microorganisms present in our body. I hope you learnt and you understood how these microorganisms are useful in different areas. Thank you.